Hello, all, Xyceres here. Just quickly going over the last base that I will likely be making before the Jetshore updates. I don't think I'll be mastering anything else before then. I might, with this new patch, I might throw some of my masters up in the active queue for funsies, but the this here is Goffstown. It was my last base that was mastered in Sector 0. It is a small normal base. It has 4500 gen mat because that's part of a challenge that I was doing with it. There's this challenge where people were taking a 750 capacity, 4500 gen mat base and trying to get it to master. I took it one step further by never taking it over 750 capacity. This will not, with the changes in the patch today, you can probably notice the UI is slightly different. This won't be 750 capacity when that goes live, but for um, historical reasons, I'm going to keep it the way it is, just so that it's what it was when it was active. It's got one plasma sentinel, so it'll go up to 770. For this particular one, there were 93 raid attempts, 186 kills for 2 kill ratio, exactly 2 kill ratio, which is pretty good for a base that only has 750 capacity. That's quite a lot. Normally they start lower and then you get them a little bit higher as they start having more capacity to work with, but I didn't ever add more capacity here. As for accolades, we've got 122 of them, 64 fun, 11 brutal, 23 ingenious, 24 artistic. It's a roughly 1.3 ratio, with the most being fun and artistic, although ingenious is not far behind. So let's just quickly run this, and then I will go over the actual base. Okay, and we're back. Let's turn off the skulls. I don't know why there are active skulls in this. It should have been all cleared. Anyway, yeah, so this is Goffstown. I started with a basic plan where I wanted to try and make like building blocks using the blue, yellow, and red metal blocks to create like some brightly colored boxes that I think that I was going to like write letters on and whatnot, but that didn't really come together. So we ended up going with this instead. As you come up, you see this. This is purely cosmetic. I didn't really have the extra capacity, but I figured why not. And this here, this particular pattern, I was just trying to create a minimalist version of the meme loss, meme webcomic, just for funsies. Doesn't quite work, it's hard to tell what it is unless you're really unless you're really familiar with that and going with it. The second tomb's just down here, and it's just given away for free. The main section of space is all in this yellow. There's yellow on the outside, blue for the flooring, and then red if you go a bit lower. So if we go down here, you can actually start seeing the red blocks. The outside is not particularly pretty because it's not been particularly like prettied up or anything. I would normally use like extra slopes and whatnot, but capacity. I don't have a lot of it. It's just, and I actually use this in a different way than I normally do, because this is normally marking the tombs, but in this case I put it here. Got these little great things to try and make like a pseudo door, and as we come in you'll notice there's a lot of lighting. I've got some lighting on the walls with these buzzing lamps. There's a bunch of lamps marking the sides of the walkways, just so that you can more easily guide the player to look this way, which is important for a few different reasons. Notably, it's pretty easy to miss this, particularly when the fire is covering it. That gets most of the people, I feel, but it also kind of hides this up here, which gets a few people, particularly duos. This here is a second wave trap, the only second wave trap in the base. It's pointed directly at the gen mat. It's not super dangerous, you can normally just shoot it down. It's just there for sometimes people try to run in and grab it and get out, and if they're not particularly good at that, they can get caught by that. Now down here, we didn't show it in the actual run, but there are two warmongers. They both have Bloodlust and Armored. This used to be all corrosive cubes down here, but what I ended up working out was that these two warmongers cover this whole area fairly efficiently for about 2/3 the cost. So the reason that works so well and why they have Bloodlust is because of this guy here, who doesn't have Bloodlust, has Short Leash and Armored. Stands here. As soon as the player comes in here, they trigger this. These guards aggro, meaning they start looking at the player, who will most likely be visible somewhere because this bridge is not particularly wide. So if you fall, you will most likely get hit by one or both of these. Some people go down there and deal with them, but it's strictly not necessary. It is like if you were to picture a floor of corrosive cubes, that's basically what these are. In like functionality, in the functionality of it. Plus side of using this is that some people come down here to deal with them even though they're not necessary, which that wouldn't happen with corrosive cubes, so you just get some extra kills sometimes from that, which is interesting. Anyway, yeah, Incinerator here, it's just to make it so that it's harder to peek in. This one here is more of a distraction, though it can catch people. Both 100 bolt shots, I think all three 100 bolt shots have. So, all three bolt shots have Hunter. It's just because this is a fairly wide open room when you actually look at it, so it's best. You're not going to be standing like right here for long enough. You're most likely going to move to here or back up, and you just need to not get caught by that. This guard is up here because I originally put him here and had him run back here and look back, but then when you put Short Leash on him, all this distance is considered part of his leash territory, so the 1.5 range is like here, which I don't want, because then you can just poke your head in, back up, and he'll just run all the way up here, and then you can just kill him here. So I needed some way to make it so that he wouldn't go too far from here, so that's why he's in here. This Incinerator, I've tried bolt shots here. I think the Incinerator's better, because what ends up happening is you trigger it as you go through here, and then if you take too long to get out of here, the flame is there and you die. It's surprisingly effective for what it is, because it only really hits here, like the very edge. I wonder if we can put on the trap preview range and see that. No, it doesn't really show it. But yeah, it only really hits here because of how the angle blocks are all set up. So, surprisingly effective considering that, but It's also just there because with 750 capacity, it's really hard to go past normal, and I'm just trying to make the most effective base I can with that. What else have we got? Got this, no plasma cloud, because it just doesn't need it, doesn't do anything. People aren't going to be in here fighting, and if you do put plasma cloud on it, it really just hits like the walls. And none of these spaces are near the walls for them to actually matter. Would have been 15 capacity at the time. Now would be 20, but there's no need for that. That's everything on this base, I believe. Yeah, you just back out, and then we can just go over. Yeah, you'll notice that I made the path that you have to follow blue, and optional path is using blue arrows. I thought that was a good way to go, especially with all the blue floor being the actual path in here. And yeah, I did keep the red a little bit, so we got the red, blue, and yellow, all these primary colors that I was going for. Which I think works pretty well for this base. Makes it look a little bit nicer, even if it is really basic. And anyway, this is Goffstown. It will be on social for the foreseeable future. If it's not on social, it'll be mentioned in the description. This will be my last base that I will master before Dreadhawk comes out on Tuesday. I don't see much point in rushing another one. And this actually is the first point when I'm actually up to date on my bases, so there won't be as many of these coming out, which is also part of why there wasn't as many videos this week. I will see, I might get one or two more videos out before Dreadshaw comes out. We'll see. Oh, most likely one, if it's going to be anything. I've got an idea. But, yeah, I will see you then.